Hi, this is Jill with another episode of Learning Power Up, Bite-Sized PL for the Busy Educator. Today we're going to be talking about using EdPuzzle as a reteach and retest tool. All right, so if you were to look at the guidelines for retesting, obviously it's students who score less than a 70. We know that. A tutorial or intervention session is required, and there's 5 days to get this done, and don't forget accommodations. Well, in normal times, that was pretty doable. In a hybrid situation, that has become increasingly difficult. Getting everybody together for a tutorial session, especially within the 5 days, and then getting everybody accommodated and everything, that just gets harder and harder. But there's a solution. So EdPuzzle to the rescue. If you're not familiar with EdPuzzle, it takes a video and you can embed questions, open-ended or multiple choice, and notes, stuff like that, voiceovers. And it has a huge library of pre-made tutorials. So one of the libraries comes from Numberphile, which is a site that is a project supported from the Mathematical Science Research Institute. And so there's tons of great math videos on that channel. They have a Veritasium channel, which is science and engineering videos. Of course, Crash Course. How can you beat Crash Course? Khan Academy, National Geographic, TED Talks, and then anything on YouTube. But the best part is that you can also upload your own video. So if you're already making videos for notes or lessons or whatever because you're hybrid, you can just add your own video to the content and embed questions in that. And so that's going to really be able to narrow down the exact teaks that you're wanting to reteach. So there's a little GIF here that just kind of walks you through the process in case you're looking. But once you put your video in there, you can edit it. And the first thing it's going to offer to let you do is to cut the video. It won't let you cut in the middle, but you can cut from the beginning or the end. So if you have a tutorial video that you've already made, but it covers a range of teaks and you only need to hit, a couple of them, just cut that section that you need if you want. Or if it's just too long for time and you've got a lot of fluff or whatever. So you can cut from the beginning and the end. If it's your own video, you can insert voiceover. You can't do a voiceover if it's a YouTube video, but if it's your video, you can insert voiceover. And then, like I said, you can add open-ended questions, multiple choice questions, or notes. Once you've got your video like you like it, then you can assign it using a link and assign it only to the students who need to do that retest. So I wanted to show you some of the great options. So on many YouTube videos, closed captioning is available. And if the video already has closed captioning, your students can turn that on. So that will help with some of your accommodations. They'll be able to see the words as well as hear the video. And then for your oral administration kids, if you get to when you insert a note, you can record a note. So what you see in the top picture is I've inserted a note and I'm it aloud. On the underneath slide is the student view. So they're watching the video, the note pops up, they're listening to me read that question. And then underneath you can see where there's an option to rewatch or skip. You can turn either one of those off. I suggest turning the skip off because you don't want them to skip stuff, especially in a reteach. But I would definitely leave the rewatch on because once they get to that note and I read the question, if they don't know the answer, they can rewatch that section and see it again, and that will help them be successful on the question. So what you do is you insert that note where you're reading it in the video right before you then insert the question. You can't actually record yourself reading the question, but you can put it just right before. So you can see this is then the very next frame where the question pops up. I've just read it aloud. They just had the opportunity to rewatch it, and they could type in their answer and submit it. So the benefits of using EdPuzzle as a reteach and retest tool is that you can curate videos based on specific TEKs and assign it to different students. Your tests are going to cover several TEKs, and not every student needs all of them. So you can look at your data and cluster the tutorial videos based on what the kids need. It eliminates the need to get all of those who need to reteach and retest together at once, which is really hard these days. It keeps you from having to do the same intervention several times because you couldn't get them together. And it reduces the need for you to have the entire class sit through a group reteach when you really only like 7 of them needed it. And then my favorite part is that it eliminates simply using test corrections as a retest. That's my soapbox issue. Test corrections are not a retest. I mean, not by the definition that we're using in our grading policy anyway. But then also it's engaging. It meets many accommodations, like I mentioned before. It's really easy to grade, and it's student-centered. So if you're new to EdPuzzle, if you go to their YouTube channel, they have lots of short tutorial videos to show you how to get started. If you're not using it, you should be. Even if you're not going to use it for reteach and retest, it's great just for any lesson that you use a video for, because it monitors how much of it they watched. You can look and see on their dashboard, did they watch all of it? Did they watch part of it? Did they skip some of it? Like I said, you can turn skip off. Did they have to rewatch a section several times? Then it will, the multiple choice questions it'll grade for you. The open-ended questions are very easy to grade. It's a great user interface. You can grade like 105 minutes. It's awesome. But when they miss a question, excuse me, you can look and see, did they rewatch that section? If they didn't rewatch that section after they saw it the first time and they missed it, you can have those conversations with them about, why didn't you rewatch it? Did you think you knew the answer, or were you just clicking? That kind of thing. So you can get all kinds of data from their behavior while they're watching the videos. So that's really handy. So it's great for any lesson that you're going to use a video, but I just think in this hybrid era, it's the perfect solution to the problem that we have of getting everybody together, getting these specific TEKs that need to be taught to the specific kids within that 5-day time period, getting those retests taken, and making all of their accommodations. It just, when we don't have our kids every day, it just gets really hard to do that. So now we're on to our bonus engagement strategy. This is number 12, and it's virtual Fist to 5. And a lot of us already use regular Fist to 5 in class, where 0 means I have no idea what's going on. 5 means I got this, I could teach it, leave me alone. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, anywhere in between. But if you aren't using it when you're meeting with your virtual kids, you should. For starters, we all have those kids who are turning off their camera, getting onto the meet, turning off their camera, and going to make a sandwich or whatever. If you're checking in and having them give you a virtual Fist to 5 where they either turn their camera on and show you or type into the comment box their level of understanding, you'll be able to tell if they're really engaged and paying attention. So it's a great strategy, and I hope you use it. Lastly, we've got one more week of power-ups coming up before the break. So on the 15th, we have virtual guided reading. On the 16th, we have attendance with Classwork Zoom. And on the 17th, we have showing student work with the Google Classroom mobile app. So I hope you enjoyed it today, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.